Sabah everybody and welcome back. Today we're finally able to check out the brand new Honor Magic 4 Pro. Now, I got a chance to check out this device at MWC not that long ago, but it's finally being launched today. And of course, there's a lot of things to be said about this device. For me, this is the first Honor device that has Google Play services out of the box for years now. I've been a big fan of Honor, as you probably know, on the channel for many years, and I've been to many of their events. So today I am really excited to talk to you guys about the brand new Honor Magic 4 Pro. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. So here we have the package. We have the box itself, the Honor Magic 4 Pro Edition. And again, we have the charger in the box. This is a 100-watt charger that's included in the box. This one's the UK style. There's a USB-A to USB-C cable provided to us, of course, with the charger. The device itself, this is the 8256 gig model with the 8 Gen 1 at 4600 milliampere. And we'll talk a little bit more about the features. And of course, last but not least, we also have a transparent case that's included. And I always love when companies include not only a screen protector, which we have one on here, but a case to help protect our investment or our device when we obviously open it up out of the box. So here we have it, the Honor Magic 4 Pro. Definitely a very nice reflective material. It's a little bit glossy, but definitely fingerprint prone. We have the Honor word here, and of course the Eye of Muse, or essentially the constellation of cameras that we have on the back. The main one's going to be a 50 megapixel sensor, and the secondary one was going to be for the ultra wide, a 50 megapixel as well. The telephoto, which is promptly positioned right there in the middle, is a basically 64 megapixel camera with the ability for us to be able to shoot up to 100 times zoom. Although it does actually work much better on the closer ups, but you're able to definitely be able to jump into something that is very far. We have a time of flight sensor for bokeh as well as better autofocusing configuration there, a dual tone LED flash. And then when we flip it over on the front, surprise we actually have two cameras, a primary camera which is a 12 megapixel sensor, and the other one is a 3D basically face unlock technology camera that's able to provide us the ability of unlocking the phone, as I just did that for you, and very easily without even having to put your fingerprint on it. And it is definitely a lot more secure. The fingerprint sensor that we have here is the Gen 2 Qualcomm fingerprint sensor, so definitely a bigger fingerprint sensor, but it also works very quickly. When you marry it to obviously the front-facing unlock, you're never going to have a problem being able to get access to your phone. Since we're looking on the front, one thing to mention is that this is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. We have a 4600 milliampere battery, and as I showed you guys before, it is supported with the 100-watt wired charger that's included in the box, but also supported with a wireless charger of up to 100 watts, but that does require a separate hardware sold from Honor. Basically, the best thing I would probably say is charging it with the wire, because this will charge it super fast. It does have reverse wireless charging as well, in case you want to charge other devices from it. Always on display, fingerprint sensor that's ridiculously fast, and of course, a very fast face unlocking. The overall configuration that we have in here, we have the Google Feed on the left. On the right, we have access to all of our apps. There is no app drawer in this configuration. If you swipe down, you have access to the universal search functionality that's built into the device. Of course, swiping it up all the way from the top gives us access to notification, our toggles, and you can customize them. We do have 5G, and this actually surprisingly is picking up 5G here for me in the US. Now, I have this running on AT&T in the US, but I'm pretty sure that it'll also work on T-Mobile as well. So it's supporting sub-6 5G for us here in the US, and you're able to turn it on or off if you want to be able to save some battery. Nearby share is of course over here, NFC support as well, mobile data notification, do not disturb, wireless projection. I am super excited to be able to check that out. So you're able to project the desktop experience on Magic UI 6.0 directly to a screen, or you can even do it via wire. Screen recording, and of course some of the other options in there. Overall, you're able to log into your Honor ID if you have an account, and you can set that up. Configuration for Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, network, home screen wallpaper configuration. You can go in there and customize it. Of course, you have the home screen style right now as standard, but you are able to turn it on. So by default, it does not have an app drawer. You can turn that on here, and then next time you're at the home screen, you'll be able to see the ability of swiping up, and that takes you straight into the app drawer. For me, it works just as well. Again, it did change the configuration for me. We're able to pinch in, go into settings, and then of course go to layout 4x6. Now I'm going to go ahead and change that back to 5x6 because I like to have it a little bit wider. And last but not least, I always like to have my gallery sitting in the middle so that it gives me a little bit more functional options. Of course, Google Play Store, we'll just rearrange it for now like this, and then of course we'll fix it later on. Of course, you can change the icon, the wallpaper, the magazine, of course, always on display, and of course the ocean realm. This is going to be the configuration that we have in here. Under display and brightness, one thing to keep in mind, we definitely have the ability of turning on dark mode. We have a very nice 6.8 or 6.81 LTPO OLED panel that is curved, and it is curved on both sides of this device, as well as on the back, so it's really symmetrical as far as the fit. A volume rocker and a power button on the right side. On the top, we have, let's give it a second to focus. We have an IR blaster for controlling our TV, one of the microphones, the left side of the stereo speaker configuration that we have in here. Let it focus here. As far as here on the right side, or left side, is pretty much this clean bar. On the bottom, we have access to the SIM tray that's capable of supporting 2 SIM cards, a USB-C for data, of course, and of course, last but not least, the bottom firing speaker. Configuration, of course, we have 3 microphones that are going to give us the ability of recording some great audio in there, and we're going to jump into that in the setting, in the configuration there. Overall, everything else is pretty much configurable. Ebook mode, bold text, video enhancer, frame rate booster, you can definitely increase those or turn them on. Screen resolution by default is set to be smart, but you're able to basically set it up to be QHD, 1080p, or even low, and that just ends up working the way you want it. This one will give us the ability of saving the most amount of battery. As far as screen refresh rate, very much same experience. Out of the box is set to be in dynamic. You're able to lock it to 120, 90, or 60. And of course, dynamic will give you the best battery life experience. Last but not least, it's basically full screen display if you want to be able to not show the notch that's sitting at the top, or basically hide the notch if you don't want it there. Work on that with the cutout option. Sound and vibration, pretty straightforward. Go in there and configure it as far as, ringtones and options in there as well. Screen lock, wireless emergency, and of course, all the other options that you have in there. Definitely very nice and straightforward experience. Apps, battery, storage, safety, and of course, security, privacy, location, digital well-being, accessibility, and of course, the ability of logging in with your Google account, system update, and about phone. As I mentioned to you guys, this is the Honor Magic 4 Pro. Model number is LGE-NX9. This is the UK model. And of course, it is build number 6.0 running on top of Android 12. So this is Magic UI 6 on top of Android 12. And of course, the processor is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. Now, jumping into the camera experience, as I mentioned to you guys, we have a very interesting camera stack on both the front and the back. One thing I will say though, in video, we're able to record 4K 60 on the main sensors on the back, as well as 4K 30 on the front-facing camera. So definitely very good experience. We have portrait, night mode, aperture mode, of course, for that bokeh experience, utilizing that time of flight. We also have movie mode, which gives us the ability of shooting in log, so this is definitely very nice. Pro mode for better experience, and of course, last but not least, we have a few other options for slow motion, panorama, time-lapse, stickers, documents, super macro, multi-view, high resolution, and story. But let's not waste any time. Let me give you a sample of the front-facing and the back-facing sensors on the brand new Honor Magic 4 Pro. Starting off on the front-facing camera right here, we're able to shoot 4K 30 frames per second. Definitely a very nice, welcomed experience, and we're also actually able to have a little bit of a wider field of view. This is typically what you normally get from the main sensor on the back. So this is definitely something very nice. So no 4K 60 on the main sensor on the front, but we can switch over to the back and get 4K 60 goodness on the main cameras on the back, of course. So overall, this is what you should expect for an experience as far as video and audio from the front-facing camera. Let's go ahead and switch over to the main sensor on the back. Now, when it comes down to the 4K 60 frames per second, this is going to be the maximum resolution. I'm not sure if at some point we'll be able to get the 8K capability of what the 8 Gen 1 can provide us, but this should be a pretty decent experience. Also, the ultra-wide does not support 4K 60, 4K 30 is supported there. So if you want to get to the best resolution for the best, let's say, video capability, so you can slow things down later on if you need to, that's going to be on the main shooter over there. And of course, we can zoom in a little bit with the digital crop. But overall, this is a good example of what the audio and video with a little bit of wind is on the brand new Magic 4 Pro. Now, as you saw there, some of the best experiences here obviously is the microphones that we have in there, as well as the high quality imagery that you're able to use. My recommendation obviously is to use the main sensor on the back, because that's going to give you the best video, 4K 60 frames per second. There's no 8K, but at this point, honestly, 4K 60 is truly the best experience, and we have the ability of shooting 4K on the front as well with the 12 megapixel sensor that we have. Now let's jump in directly to our favorite song on the channel, Alex Scrindo Jumbo by NCS Release. The volume is at 100%.
Jack it up.
Now, definitely not the loudest speakers on the market, but definitely sounding very good and very clear. No distortion at the 100% and no issues as far as listening to the audio experience, of course. Now, I do realize that benchmarks are something that a lot of us do care about, and as far as speed test as well. So here on Geekbench, I was able to test it on a couple of different modes. There is an overclock mode. This device is by default throttled. You do need to go into the battery setting to turn that on. So without the throttling option turned off, so when it's normal mode, 1132 and 3466 is what what we're getting with Geekbench. Once I unlock those and turn them at 100%, 1215 and 3306. So definitely you can see an improvement here over on both. The single score definitely jumps up, but the multi-score kind of drops a little bit. It's a little bit different of a situation. Now, as far as the compute with OpenCL, we definitely see an improvement. Normal mode is 5833, jumping up to 5938 on the unlocked mode. So definitely very, very nice. And you can definitely appreciate the benefit of having somewhat of a throttle experience, but still get something that runs so fast like the 8 Gen 1, the way we have it right now. Now, for speed testing, again, I am running this on AT&T in the US. I was able to clock in 5G capabilities on AT&T. And of course, highest I was able to get was 87 down with about 17 up. Of course, you can see here, depending on the location and the time, you're able to get different experiences. And should be a very similar experience for T-Mobile in the US. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys want to see some gaming and some capabilities of what we're able to do. I have a few games installed. One of the main things I will probably say is there is no gaming center or game option like a game mode in here. And unless I'm missing it, I'll have to definitely check that out. It has been a few years, but I could not find a Game Turbo or anything like that the way we had it in the past. It does feature the Game Turbo engine, which is something that Honor has had for quite some time. Now, due to the fact that we have a very nice large display, this is obviously going to give us some of the best gaming experiences. So without further ado, let's jump into the best capabilities on both Call of Duty Mobile and PUBG Mobile on the brand new Honor Magic 4 Pro.
Contact! Target's in sight! We've taken the lead. Contact with enemy! He's close, fight harder. Enemy down! Target's in sight! Tango down! Enemy contact!
Now, as you saw there, the gaming experience is definitely very nice. Overall, you're not going to have an issue. My recommendation would be is getting some really nice pair of buds with low latency or using the speakers on this device. I had no problem being able to basically place the positioning of who's firing at me in the game just using the speakers. They're definitely very nice. And I like the fact that the stack of the speakers are not just sitting at the bottom. So the right speaker is sitting here at the tops, which gives us the ability basically not blocking it with our hand. And on the left side, it's pretty much the same experience. Although I will say it's technically the same speaker, at least it sounds to me that it's the same speaker as the earpiece, because when I did try to block it at some point, the sound still permeated and it sounded just the same. So I feel like the opening at the top is just a better way for us to get the audio out of the speaker, which still sounds absolutely fantastic. Not the loudest, but it sounds fantastic. As far as the camera experience, we're definitely looking at a flagship experience here. And what I mean by this is a 50 main, which is a wide, a 50 ultra wide, that's going to be the secondary one, and a 64 telephoto, which is a dedicated sensor that's sitting at the center of the camera stack, or what they call the Eye of Muse. At the end of the day, as well as a time of flight sensor for better, obviously, just autofocusing and of course, bokeh effect. The front-facing experience is also very nice. We have a wider lens, a 12 megapixel sensor that's giving us 4K 30. So I really like the fact that what we're getting here essentially is a very well-balanced experience. The front-facing screen unlock with the 3D sensor that we have at the front is definitely very nice. The second generation fingerprint sensor is also very nice. So again, all of this is culminating in a very well put together Magic experience, really, because the Magic series for Honor have always been their best performers, their innovators, the pushing the limit type of an experience. Ever since the first Magic that I've reviewed, even the Magic 2 that I had an opportunity to go check out their launch event, and it was a slider at the time. And of course, even covering the Magic 3 last year, the Magic 4 is not missing a beat. I will say one thing though, the way the configuration that we have in here, the model that I have is the A256. Now the one thing that a lot of us don't think about realistically is that our devices should be able to do way more than what we do on a daily basis of just using them as a glowing rectangle. So one thing I really like about Honor devices, and it's been true for many, many years, is the fact that they support a desktop mode or wireless projection, which allows us to actually wirelessly connect to, let's say, a TV like this over Wi-Fi. Or even better, if you have the capability of plugging it into a TV or a monitor that supports the technology, you're able to actually turn on a desktop experience. So your phone can actually function as a desktop on a supported display. For me, I really like the experience, and of course, if you have something like a neck dock, I'll cover this off, of course, in the full review, but desktop mode is definitely here and easy to access directly wired or wirelessly on the Magic 4 Pro. Now lastly, since we're talking about the battery, this does not have a 5000 milliampere, it has a 4600 milliampere battery. Now, it's not a small battery and it's not the largest battery on the market, but it charges crazy fast. A 100-watt charger with a charger that's included in the box. Again, very rarely do we see this, and we're starting to see more companies take out the chargers out of the box. So for that, and I will say, first and foremost, thank you very much to Honor for allowing me to check out the Magic 4 Pro. Keep it here. There's going to be a full video review of this device coming up very soon. I just haven't had the phone long enough to be able to do that for you guys yet. So from my first impressions, checking it out, and again, being a longtime fan of Honor, this is very, very nice and definitely very appreciative.